Hey guys, Darren Carr here, coach of Wise Pods, and welcome back to my round 3 team review. Quickly, before I get into the episode, I'll just want to mention my background's obviously different at the moment. I am away on holiday. I am currently in Darwin for about a week and a half, so please don't mind the quality of the episodes coming out this week. Unfortunately, I can't bring my entire setup at home, so I'm just on my laptop at the moment, so please try and ignore it. I know it's not as good as it normally is, but please just ignore it. I'll be back in Adelaide by next week's video, so should be all good to go there. But into fantasy, scored the 1880 this week, so pretty average again, probably about par where everyone sort of scored. The really good team scored about 2,000. I am unfortunately not in that category at the moment, but we're slowly getting there. Round rank of 9,330, so very similar to where I was sort of at last week. So really just waiting for the team to sort of put up a really good score to start me up in the rankings a little bit further. But my ranking is still really improving, so jumped up again another 3,000 spots this week, so just inside the top 4,000 now, where I was just inside the top 7,000 last week. So still moving in the right direction, which is really nice. Quickly, my +3 and -3. So I'm going to give my +3 to Miles Bergman this week, just because he is so lowly owned for me, 2.86% at the moment. So yeah, really lowly owned. 104, which was really nice to see. And the role that he was playing was really nice and really gave me a bit more confidence to hold on to him for a few more weeks, just because Radaglia came into Port Adelaide's side, and he's sort of playing that intercepting role, and he's getting amongst the chip in the background where they're switching a fair bit, and he's just a really good defender, so he's getting plenty of intercept positions as well. So he's doing really well there. He's averaging 87 across the first 3 matches, which is, I think, 12 points above where he was sort of priced at to start the season, so he's going quite nicely there. And he does have St Kilda this weekend, so hopefully he can put up another decent one for me and continue to rise up in price. He's only gone up the 18k so far this season, so yeah, wanting to see him rise up a bit quicker than that would be nice. So yeah, really happy with what Bergen's been doing for me, that lowly owned. So that's my +3. My -3 probably can go to a host of players, unfortunately, because yeah, my team isn't really good. But I'll say it should probably be to my midfield. My entire midfield was just shocking over the weekend. And looking at other people's teams, looking at their midfields, it's just real. It's where my team is being let down at the moment, and you can probably see why. I've got 3 rookies on the field at the moment, plus Hollands, who's scoring less than a rookie. He will be going this week, but then I really don't have the 4 mainstay guys in Dawson, Rosie, Oliver, and O'Driscoll, who have been performing well. Dawson and Rosie didn't get there on this weekend, but they will be fine. I'm not too worried about them at all. So really looking to see if I can upgrade this sort of section on my team very shortly. So that's sort of what's in my plan so far. But if I had to give it to an individual player who gets my -3, probably has to be Horn Francis, unfortunately. He, 74, is not what I'm paid up for him to start the season. He's averaging 72.7 over the first 3 games when I played up for a 90 averaging guy. And I guess we sort of just have to start questioning what's happening with him now. Like, the role's fine. He's just sooking a fair bit. He's dropping marks that he should be taking. He's passing off goals where he should just be going back and kicking them. Like, you're a good kick, mate. Just go back and do it. And he's just dropping a shit ton of cash at the moment. He's down nearly 80k. And I guess the question really needs to be asked now is he actually going to be a top 6 forward for us for the year? Because that's the only reason we picked him, right? Besides the fact that he was coming into the season with elite form in the Pracky games and whatnot, we all thought he'd be top 6 forward for us, but there's sort of some question marks around that now with the likes of maybe Petrarca getting forward status. Even some Sheasel could be potentially close as well with his potentially getting forward status. So there's probably a world where he may not actually be a top 6 forward for us by the time of the end of the year. So I guess it's sort of a bit of an individual assessment of where you actually think he sits. Do you jump off now and rank him sort of at the same sort of price tag so you can easily jump to him? He's obviously flying at the moment. I think he scored 116 on the weekend, so you could easily make a sideways trade to him. It's only costing you 25k, so I think a lot of people will be doing that this week. But yeah, it's really disappointing to see where he's at the moment. I think I'm willing to hold him just to see if he can turn this around, because I still think I'm in when my team's out, I'm still focusing on other issues rather than trading and having that luxury position of trading these premiums that I've paid up for. I'm just going to back them in. I'm looking to fix these mid prices and potentially get off of red dot rookies or rookies that just aren't working as well as they should be to get that cash generation going, because next week I really want to be starting the upgrade season. I really want to start getting these other premiums in, so because next week we're back to best 22, so we'll have a full team playing out there, so I really want to try and limit how many rookies I have on my field. So that is my -3. Quickly looking at what my VC and C options were, so I did go McRae as my VC. He scored the 113, and I did toy around with whether I was going to take it, whether I was going to take the VC or just go with the C on Dawson or not. I did end up taking the VC just because where my team was sort of sitting at, I didn't want to risk too much more points, and I thought the highest probably Dawson I could see him going was 120. And luckily I didn't go with him because he did only score the 85 in what was a pretty poor game from him. His calf was strapped, which was a bit unusual, and we saw that before the game, so I think that's probably enough to scare a few people off. But apparently, I don't know whether this is true or not, I'm just going off what other people have said, but apparently it's a new tattoo he's covering up, so maybe it's probably not too much of a concern there, so it should be all good to go. And he probably will be in captain calculations coming this week, and expecting a big response from him. But yeah, happy went with the Jack McRae VC. I guess the only other one I could have gone, which was better, would have been, a few of these other boys. Rankin, don't think he's quite there just yet. Bailey Smith and Caleb Daniel probably could put their hand up to be VCs at this stage, but not quite confident with them just yet. Tom de Koning, definitely I need to start trusting him a lot more, because he is just absolutely killing it at the moment. I think he's the second or third highest averaging player at the moment in fantasy, which is just ridiculous to think the price we paid for him. He's just going elite. But yeah, he has got the Darcy Cameron coming up this week, and then he's got the West Coast Eagles. So he definitely needs to be considered. Again, they play on Thursday night, so that could be an early VC that we could go with again this week. So he'll be highly up there. Quickly reviewing my trades from last week. So my trades did get thrown out the window again this week, which was atrocious to think, because I was grabbing Mitch Nevitt, so I had to make that late pivot late on Sunday at night because he was the sub. So I ended up having to go down to Ted Closey, which now looking back probably wasn't the right decision in my eyes, because I always knew that his job security was questionable at best, and I didn't know where sort of Sean Manor was at the time, so I wasn't sure whether he was just injured or just not playing in the main side. But there is every chance that Sean Manor comes back into the side this week, and that could mean Ted Closey is out, so that's probably a bit of a wasted trade. But it has left me a lot of coin on the bench at the moment, which I need to start to spend up with, which probably doesn't come at the right time because there are so many rookies that a lot of people are looking to grab this week. So I'll just have to do what I can with what my trades are, and I'll show you what I'm doing. But ultimately, trading that day, he went an 83, which wasn't bad. We definitely outscored what I thought he would against that tag, but it didn't actually go to him that much. Like, it sort of went to him for the first maybe a quarter and a half, and then it sort of got switched over to Newcomb in that second quarter. So he got off the chain. He could have kicked the fucking bag. He had 1 goal 3, so he could have definitely hit a three figures if he had kicked straighter. But in the conditions that there were in that game, no surprising he didn't kick straight, like a lot of people didn't. So yeah, anyone that did hold, I'd be holding on to for now. Just hold him through the bye. He's got a great run coming up, so I wouldn't be too worried there. He definitely has some value to him still. He didn't drop any cash for you this week. And he's gone up to 84k. So in terms of the whole played from the start to finish, from starting him to trading him out, it probably hasn't been worthwhile when we could have picked much better players like a Powell or something like that in that same sort of vicinity, who have gone up and potentially have more further to go up very shortly as well. So I think it's a bit of a foul pick in my eyes, so I'm glad to see he's sort of gone. But yeah, if you still have him, I'd definitely be holding on to him for now, as I said last week. I had to jump off Perryman. That was an obvious one, so that was always going to be a winning pick. So I went to sign Sinasai Wanganilira, if I can ever say his name correctly. He scored the 112, which I should have been happy with. I honestly should have been happy with. But when I was considering the likes of a Zorko or even his teammate in a Sinclair, he ended up going the worst of all three of them, and it just he doesn't look like he has that ceiling, which is something I didn't really factor in too much. I should have think he's just got to be a very consistent sort of 90 to 110 sort of player. He's not really going to have too many high ceiling games, whereas a Sinclair, we all know he has a huge ceiling that he can go, and I think he went like 136 or something like that on the weekend. So he was just absolutely killing it. But I do think in the long term, I think Nasai Wanganimulira will be a bit of a more stable pick. I do think Sinclair has a much bigger target on his back to be tagged a lot more often. So yeah, I think Nasai should go a bit free here and there. So I think overall, in terms of a long term pick, he'll be fine. So I'm not too worried about Nasai there. So that was a good trade-in pick. But ultimately, trades weren't perfect like I sort of expected them to be with those late nudes of Nevitt being out. So I did grab Closey. He did come on field, only scored the 44. Did go up 49k, which was nice. But yeah, definitely could be dropped this week and then become a red dot for us this week, which would be a bit frustrating. So fingers crossed he can keep his spot there and continue to make money, because he does have a one break even at this stage. Quickly, player by player review. So I've already gone through Nastya. Obviously, Matt Roberts had the bye, so he'll come back this week, which was really nice. Did secure the VC loop on him. Jane Short with a 101 against the St Kilda matchup, which was nice. Probably expected a little bit more, but I think we know by now Jane Short isn't a huge ceiling sort of bloke. He's just going to be a consistent, 90 sort of guy. So he's got a bit of value to him, but not a huge amount. So he will eventually make way out of our sides, but I think we all have many bigger issues at the stage, and he is making money at this stage. So see how he goes this week, and then we can reassess him. I already spoke about Bergman. He's going well. These two defenders in Joel Frazier and Sam De Koning are becoming a bit of an issue, because as you can see, a 63 and a 66 scored less than my two rookies on the bench at the moment, with Trainer going 78 and Reed going 83. So they are becoming a bit of an issue, especially Frazier in my eyes. He has gone 103 in round one, and then he went 75 and now 63. So it's only dropping back to where he sort of started his pricing at. He's sort of stalled all his cash generation with his 65 at break even at the moment, so he will be one that makes way out of my side very shortly. If it probably won't be this week, but definitely could be next week. Similarly with Sam De Koning, who is becoming a bit more increasingly as a warrior, as a risk in terms of Stanley coming back into the side. He did get tactically subbed out of that game in the fourth quarter, so he was on track for a decent score, maybe like an 80-85 sort of range. It was early stages in that fourth, so he was looking fine there. Still got a low break even of 54, so he still has a bit of money to make. Up against Max Gawn this week is definitely going to be a tougher matchup for him in terms of hitouts, but hopefully he can get it done around the ground. But again, hopefully Stanley stays away from the side, and we have no risk of him going to the key defensive role that we've seen him in the past, where he averages 50. So yeah, obviously you got to keep in mind in that when it comes to teams, but I'm still confident that they will stick to their game style at the moment, with him being as the number one ruck. So fingers crossed that is still going to happen. Sorry guys. So yeah, make your plans to probably trade him out in the next couple of weeks. I don't think there's too many issues trading him on there. He is technically a cash generator for us, and he's drying up in cash, so there's no point holding on to him much longer. Luke Trainer and Reed are doing exactly what we want from them, and giving themselves probably another 2 or 3 weeks in our sides. They were sort of drying up in terms of cash generation, but they've just come out and gone bang in the last week. So making good coin. What Trainer go up on the weekend? He went up 51k, and Reed would have gone up even more than that, 73k, and a negative 13 break even is massive. He does have the bye this weekend, so you will be holding him through that, so that is no worries. Dawson and Rosie, they did score pretty poorly. Rosie did save it pretty much late in that game. Same with Horn Francis, I should have mentioned that. But they should be good. They'll be fine to come bounce back. I have no concerns with his premiums. It's just part and parcel of owning premiums. They've got to have games where they just go badly. So, yeah, I have no issues there. Clayton's just doing Clayton things. He is just killing it at the moment, skyrocketing in price at the moment. 39k on the weekend, with his 108 score. Got the Cats this weekend, so he should go well there. Ollie Hollands definitely needs to go this week. I backed him in for the third week in a row to, give us something, give us some glimmer of hope to be able to hold him, because he does have that good run. But no, he needs to go this week. Back-to-back sort of 40s and 50s. Didn't get it done. So he'll be definitely leaving my side. Only dropped the 18k, so I'm not too mad about that. But yeah, considering that I could have held Day instead of Hollands, and then would have been better off in terms of points on field and in terms of not losing cash overall, that was probably a bit of a poor move. So yeah, I felt like whatever way I went, it was going to go wrong. So there's that. O'Driscoll's killing it with a 99, even though he's not playing any midfield at this point in time. He just knows how to rack up the pill and is so impactful to that Freo side. So he is definitely a lock in their best 22, I'd say. So no concerns with him. Just riding his cash strand. He's still got a fair bit to go. These rookies, Levi Ashcroft dropped to 58, which is still fine. Going up plenty in cash, 51k on the weekend, breaking even 14, so it is starting to dry up. But got the Richmond Tigers this week. I do expect him to probably put up a bit of a nicer score, maybe a 70 if not an 80, and continue that cash generation. So he'll be one we can hold for probably another month or so, which would be nice. Xavier Lindsay, the disappointment of the weekend with a 12, got subbed out probably within 5 minutes of that game with a bit of a knee injury. Now, I don't have the full analysis at this point in time, but he has avoided serious damage to his knee, so there's potential he's even back. He might even play this weekend, but I think they've ruled him out for this weekend. But he said, but he could be back next week. So that's sort of where we need to analyse, okay, where exactly is he at in terms of, do they rush him back next week? Because we saw what he's capable of. He can average 80, and that means he probably has 300k left to actually earn on top of his price at the moment, even though his elevated break even at the moment is higher than what it would have been. I still think it's worthwhile hold at this stage if it's only going to be a 2-week injury, but we'll have to wait and see on what comes out this week in terms of the injury report. I'm just scrolling through my phone at the moment to see if I can find if they've updated it at all. It's a bit harder to do on my phone than it is on the computer, but they've listed him as 1 to 2 weeks for the knee. So definitely misses this week, but he could be back next week, and then if not, he'd be back the week after. So in my opinion, it's probably worth just holding on to him. He's going to be one that we can put back on field instantly when he comes back in 1 to 2 weeks' time, and he's definitely going to be one of the better scoring rookies rather than relying on one of these other rookies that aren't scoring as well as what he is. So in my opinion, I'm looking at holding him right now, but we'll see how it sort of pans out with my trade, how my trade's looking. Ted Closey, I sort of went over him. The 44 was pretty disappointing, but he did go up the coins. Just fingers crossed he can hold his spot in the coming rounds. Murphy Reed is absolutely killing it at the moment. I am glad I have him on my team at the moment, even though he's had a slower start to his career. He is definitely thriving in the last couple of weeks. He is just being so impactful. Obviously, the West Coast matchup was nice. Probably could have kicked straighter in terms of kicking a couple goals, but he's just getting it done. 75 on the weekend. Low break even. He's making money, so glad to have him. My plans to my trade probably will be to look at trading Camporelli if he's not named this week. So I think I do recommend people do that as well, especially if you have 3 or more dead rookies on your field. So I've only got the 2 currently with Boyd and Camporelli. Again, close. You could be very close to that sort of mark. So I'm probably looking to keep my cash generation rolling. But we'll see how my trades go. Jerry 77 was pretty poor, but he was looking very sore in that game. I think he was holding onto his hamstring a little bit. I think he just twinged it a little bit in a marking contest. He was just throwing his body around, but again, we sort of all expected this, that he was going to drop a lower in his average. We shown that last year where his averages against these sort of ruckmen that it was going to go badly, and it was always going to drop in coin. But I don't think it's been the wrong move just yet to start him, because again, who's been that cheaper ruckman that has absolutely killed it that you could have gone with instead of a Cherry? Obviously, Tom de Koning is the one, but everyone has him at their R2. It's just who would have been your R1 or who would have been your cheaper R2 option that would have absolutely done well. And I don't think anyone's really made an outstanding pick at this stage. So I'm happy with him there, and again, he'll be a holder for the year unless he gets injured. Fingers crossed he does get up for the game. I think, like I said, he'll be fine to go. So fingers crossed that holds on. He does have a tough matchup against Grundy this week, so again, probably expecting a lower score, probably not a captaincy option. But yeah, again, I'll just be holding him through. I know a lot of people are looking at trading him to Marshall at the stage. I'm probably not in that luxurious position, but if you are, again, I'd probably still wait for Tom de Koning to be that sort of trade up, because again, Tom de Koning is one that we're going to have to trade at in 3-4 weeks time when the likes of Pitnet comes back. Obviously, I think it's inevitable he's coming back as soon as he is fit, because again, Carlton haven't won a game, so that is just saying that the record is really bad when it's just the one ruckman. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pitnet comes back in very, very quickly. He is only listed as 1 week, so he could be back as early as next week. So have that in your trade plans, because that would absolutely be a must trade out as soon as he comes back in. So keep that in your trade plans. Forward line, probably don't need to talk about them too much. You know all the main players. I spoke about Horne-Francis already. Definitely could be worth a trade out if you're not keen on him anymore. McRae, Smith, and Daniel all did their things, being keepers for the year. Rankin also was massive in that. Probably could have been a bit bigger. Didn't kick straight as well. Two behinds. But he's just showing that he's got a capacity to go get plenty of touches. 30 touches, 5 marks, 5 tackles. He's just so impactful at this point in time. Glad I started with him. Good, great runs coming up. So yeah, if you don't have him, he's definitely a big target. And I think a lot of people are doing that at the moment. Davidson, I probably should mention him, even though everyone has him. He just went absolutely mega in that game. 125 from a rookie is definitely one of the biggest I can remember in a long time. So he is just probably going to be the rookie of the year at this stage. So he is just killing it. And worthwhile keeping on our fields for a long time for now. So keep him there. And the rookies to finish off, Berry probably should have scored a bit more. He was on like 49 at halftime. Again, just slowed up. So 57, happy with it. He's just been a slow burn, as I've said. So he's getting there. St Kilda this week, hopefully does well. Stone, glad to see I held him. He went back to his 68, back to his 60 ways. And made 51k. So, yeah, definitely glad to see him there, making coin. And then Finn O'Sullivan's probably the only one that I probably could move on, just because he's not making much money. 52 on the weekend was good, but again, only made 17k for the round. So, nothing amazing. Alright, so that's my team. Quickly, now I'll probably should go through my trouble areas quickly. I guess it's pretty obvious where they are. These two are starting to creep into my troubled areas, but for now, I think this week they'll be fine. Really, Ollie Horns is my main priority to get out this week. I think that's pretty obvious. I guess you can throw in the dead rookies as my other main issues I've got on my side, being Lindsay, Camporelli, not talking Boyd. And then obviously Finn O'Sullivan. I think everything else is fine, besides maybe Horne-Francis is maybe the only other issue, but again, I'm backing in my premiums. Let's go quickly to my trade. So I have looked to, sorry, get rid of that. I have traded Hollins to Moraes at this point in time. That's probably locked in my opinion. I don't see that changing at all. What my second trade will be either going a Lindsay, which again I said that maybe I won't trade him, but then it could go to a Brayshaw. That would give me enough money to go to Brayshaw. He's dropped in coin. I think he's definitely a worthwhile trade in. Gives me 82k to go into next week. Or I could look to trade out Camporelli, who may be the red dot fix up, and that could be either to Langford, who I'm pretty keen on, and I think he's going to be a pretty influential rookie if he's going to continue this midfield role. So that would probably be a pretty big double downgrade, and it leaves me 600k on the bank, which doesn't feel great, but we'll have to wait and see that one. The only other option I could go in this scenario is go to Saliga, who I have been looking at, who I wasn't keen on. I did have him last year, and he did go okay, but he does drop off quite frequently. But he's absolutely killed it so far this season, with averaging 113. So that's just where my trades are at. Hopefully things don't change too much in terms of team announcements and whatnot come Thursday night, but I'll go through a few more trade options in my next video. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Again, so apologies for the poor quality, but again, everything will be back to next week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for trade mode. See you later.